I probably don't have to tell you what a Tesla Model Y is. You see these things everywhere. I'm sure you've been in one at least once. Heck, you've probably even owned one. After all, it was the best-selling car in the whole world in 2023. But these days, you can't talk about Tesla or the Model Y without talking about the guy up top and all the stuff that he's into. Maybe you love the guy, maybe you can't stand him. Maybe you'd wish he would just shut up and go away for a little bit. But I want to take a step back from all that noise and talk about this car. This is the 2026 Tesla Model Y, the second generation Model Y, with lots of improvements and upgrades over the previous car. I can tell you it's actually very good. It's a better car than it's ever been. But the competition, which is inspired by Tesla, is now fiercer than ever. So does this thing really have what it takes to stay as the best-selling car in the world? Let's find out. They say that electric vehicles are supposed to be like smartphones on wheels. And if any car ever pulled that off, it was the Tesla Model Y. This thing is about as ubiquitous as an iPhone. And like an iPhone, it's now got a bunch of upgrades for 2026. It looks different, it's got a little more range than before, and it fixed a lot of the qualities that people found most annoying about the old Model Y. Now, I do think the new Model Y is going to be a bellwether for how well Tesla's doing or not doing this year. Here's the thing, last year or so, sales of Tesla are down. It's because, depending on where you live in the world, you're getting turned off to Elon Musk, or, there's new and hotter competition in the EV space coming out, or some combination of both. This thing was the top seller for the longest time, and globally, it accounts for about 2/3 of Tesla's sales. If they don't get this thing right, they're in a lot of trouble. Now, the new Model Y just started rolling out. I'm starting to see them on the road more and more here in New York. I think people are warming up to them, but the question is going to be, are they going to be buying them at the rate that they bought the old Model Y? And that very much remains to be seen. The new Model Y we're testing today is the long-range dual-motor all-wheel drive model. As we make this, the only other Model Y that you can buy is the long-range rear-wheel drive model. A Model Y Performance is coming soon, but I'll tell you this thing has plenty of that, as you'll see in a minute. Range is very good at 327 miles of EPA rated range, and I've definitely seen it deliver that and more in my test in very temperate weather. And as before, it's powered by a 75 kilowatt hour battery. But it's what's under the skin and around it and inside it that really matters here. The first Model Y came out in 2019. Now, I remember when I first saw it at Tesla's debut event, and I was like, oh, they're gonna print money with that thing. And I was right, they did. Because the Model 3 up to that point had already been massively successful as this more mainstream, more affordable EV, and that just kind of took that body and turned it into a crossover. And here in America, Europe, China, everywhere, we love a good crossover, don't we, folks? That's why you shouldn't be shocked that the new Model Y, well, it looks like a Model Y. I mean, come on. There's no surprises here, right? The biggest change are to the front and rear. This long horizontal strip that's an LED matrix headlight. This has been kind of controversial so far. I've heard a lot of criticism of the way it looks. I have a confession to make, which is that I actually really like how the new Model Y looks. I'm kind of a fan of how they did this. It's cliche to say a Tesla looks futuristic, but like I kind of like how they did it. And I will tell you too, this LED matrix light bar works really, really well. We're not doing a night test of this thing, but these are the best adaptive high beams I have ever tested in a decade and a half of testing cars professionally. They shine outward, illuminate the road, and then kind of shape themselves around like the car, the pedestrian, whatever in front of you, so that they're not totally blinded by the light here. And it works remarkably well. They do this for a reason. We're gonna cover this later. Tesla's automated driving assistance systems are all camera-based, vision-based. So if the car can't see the road at night, it can't do its job. So no wonder the lights have to be good. Tesla also gets points in my book for the rear light bar design. You can't even see the source of the light here. It's an LED light that is projected onto this panel here. You can see it kind of hum and glow down, and it looks really cool, especially at night. Kind of paints light on there. I really love this design touch. I think that between it and that front horizontal LED bar, it just gives the car a really cool vibe. It's almost like cybernetic in a way. Beyond that, It's got a few new body panels, but it's a Tesla Model Y. It's teardrop shaped, it's a crossover. Like I said, no surprises here. Oh, and Tesla gets more points for this. As the company that kind of pioneered what a modern EV architecture should look like, it's really good at packaging. Tesla doesn't do this thing where it takes like a gas car platform and shoves batteries into it, kind of makes it work that way. This thing's all EV from the get-go, and so it's actually really excellent when it comes to packaging and storage options. Take a look here. We move some stuff in our trunk. This is the trunk area, not bad. You know, we've got this teardrop shape, so it's not the most spacious crossover around, but aha, look at that. That's a pretty deep little extra storage unit. And that's still the best frunk in the business, at least in America anyway. Like some of the Lucids have more spacious options, but not many do. Like I have a Kia EV6, which I think is a really excellent EV, and you could maybe put like a cigar or a box of pencils in what passes for a frunk in that car, but here you get some really good storage options. All right, let's take a look inside, shall we? This is where the Model Y gets probably its biggest improvements. We have this nice material that stretches across the dash right here. This is some nicer kind of, faux leather material that's right there. We've got this customizable LED colored light strip that goes all the way around the dashboard. I've got some sort of Alcantara type fabric that's right where the wireless chargers are. All the soft touch points are a lot better. This is a much nicer car than the one it replaces. It's still very Spartan, very sparse, they're very minimalist, as they say, interior, but it's quite an upgrade. The seats are really comfortable too, which I don't remember really loving the old one, but yeah, this is a nice change from what used to be. The rear seats on the old Model Y and Model 3 were not especially pleasant. I've had many an Uber ride in one of these things that really just somewhere between not memorable and kind of miserable. And this has a lot more cushioning. Headroom's pretty good. I'm 5'11", and I've got a decent amount of space back here. I'm very comfortable. I think this would not be bad at all on a long drive for an adult passenger. I will say this, they've improved the glass roof on this car and made it thicker, and I think the tint is better. I'm still not a great fan of this feature for any EV. Now, if you like buttons, this is not the car for you, and Tesla's kind of infamous for that, and that trend absolutely continues on the new Model Y. Driving modes here, chill in standard and reduced in standard, which are also my personal settings at any given time. You can adjust the steering weight there. I've sort of liked heavy on this thing. It gets kind of nice and direct feeling. Mess with the locks this way. Everything is centralized through the screen. And then down here we have the latest suite of apps that you can access. And they also have an excellent smartphone app. Like, you can kind of do a lot of stuff on the Tesla app. It's very quick moving, it's very responsive. I have the Kia app on my EV6, and I can tell you it's not much to write home about. But they're still really good at this, and other car companies are catching up. I think Rivian is getting really close, and maybe by the end of this year, next year sometime, they might be on par with Tesla. And also, fun fact, when I was in China testing a lot of advanced EVs, they almost all look like this, with the little 3D representation of the car, and the suite of apps everywhere, and the screen that's like this. So everybody kind of is running with this playbook that this company pioneered. So what are the downsides here? I think, in a lot of ways, it's not for everyone. Like, there's kind of a criticism of Tesla that it's more like a gadget or a smartphone than a car. It's certainly more of those things than like a driver's car. I think that's a little unfair personally, but there's also some truth to it. Like, it does feel a little more iPhone-y, I guess, than even certain other EV competitors out there. But lots of people buy iPhones, and clearly they're onto something there. It also, to the Tesla, I'll give them points for this, is that they still do one pedal driving and regenerative braking better than almost every other car company out there. Like, Tesla's an oddball also in that it doesn't really put out horsepower numbers, but I think it's fair to say that this long-range, dual-motor, all-wheel drive car probably puts down about 400 horsepower is my guess. What they do give you is 0 to 60 times, and this thing is 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds, which is pretty brisk. There are plenty of EVs now that do 0 to 60 regularly all day, like well under 5 seconds. Like, even among them, this is on the quicker side. This isn't even the Model Y Performance. Like, you get this on a highway and it is a passing machine. It's been a minute since I drove the last Model Y, but I am just impressed with this thing across the board. The old one was not exactly known for its smoothness, but this is a much more comfortable ride. It's much more pliant. It's a lot less noisy on the road. And this thing handles really well, like surprisingly so. It's still a relatively compact crossover. It's an EV, so you've got all that weight down the floor. You know, the steering is pretty tight. It takes a corner really well. The original Model Y was and is a phenomenal value for the price. But, you know, to get to that price, especially in sort of the earlier era of EVs, you know, it was a pretty decontented car. It's pretty stripped down, pretty basic. They really put an emphasis on making this a nicer place to be in this update for the Model Y. It's a much better interior than before. Like, the materials are significantly upgraded. Pretty much everything you can see or touch feels nicer than it used to. It's a much quieter car than the one it replaces. Wind noise is better, tire noise is better. Those things were updated on the Model 3 Highland as well, but I honestly think the Model Y is even better. All right, so I've heaped a lot of praise on the new Model Y, and I do like it a lot. So what are the downsides here? Well, call it a problem of expectations. I think that in the past, every time Tesla would come out with a new car, it was just this world-changing event. I mean, as somebody that worked on the internet, covering cars for a long time, it would sort of make your page view quota for a month and then some. You know, it was always some huge game-changing product they'd come out with. And this Model Y is really good, but it's not that. And that's because it is kind of falling behind a lot of its competitors in some key ways. There's no V to L or V to G, meaning no way to transmit electricity from the car to another power source, like your tools or even your house. IKEA can do that, and it's actually pretty useful in a pinch. And the charging speeds are just kind of okay. Yeah, it'll do 250 kilowatts on a Tesla supercharger station, but you're still looking at like 10 to 80 in about 27 minutes. There are lots of EVs now that'll do that quite a bit faster than that. Where's Tesla on this 5-minute EV fast charging that China's BYD can do now? Like, a lot of the specs that are key to the EV experience have just sort of stayed the same and aren't really breaking new ground like Tesla used to do. And I think that's a little disappointing. So this is a really great all-around EV, but it's just not transformational anymore. All right, you can't talk about Tesla without talking about autopilot and full self-driving. Elon Musk certainly doesn't, because that's what they've hinged the whole future of the company on. So we should probably give that a try here. I'm gonna set my destination, navigate to Briarcliff, New York. It's that way, and then I press this ball right here, on the right ball on the steering wheel. And that's it. I can't say driving myself, because legally it's not driving itself, and Tesla is very adamant that, you know, it is a supervised autonomous driving assistance system. The difference with full self-driving is that the vast majority of cars on the road are not going to operate like this around town, and they're not going to do this kind of automatic steering and turning at lights and navigating roads like this car is about to do on its own. 99% of car companies, when they're talking about automated driving assistance, you're talking about highway stuff, like glorified cruise control. Ford, General Motors go hands-off on the highway. Like, nobody does this the way Tesla does. And there's two ways to look at that. One is it's because Tesla's such a tech leader and it's on the forefront of autonomy. And then the other way to look at it is they're taking a big risk with this stuff that they shouldn't be taking if this technology isn't ready for prime time. The tech itself is pretty controversial, if you don't know. Full self-driving and autopilot don't run off LiDAR and radar and other advanced sensors like almost all other cars have. They just work off of cameras and supposedly artificial intelligence. So that's kind of like your brain. The car sees what's around, and that's how it sees the world, and it drives, and it gets better and learns over time. I think the difference here is that Tesla kind of errs on the side of wanting you to use this system because they see it as the future of the company, whereas the other ones are really, really overly cautious at how they remind the driver to pay attention. Like that Volvo EX30 I was in a little while ago, like if you sneezed, that car would yell at you. I really think they want you to try this out, and I think where it presents a problem is when it lulls a driver into a false sense of security, and we've seen a lot of accidents, even fatal ones, happen because of that. People get into these cars, they don't really know how they work, and it's like, oh, it's self-driving. It's a self-driving car. Just hit the button and it'll do whatever. No, it's a driving assistance system that's still very much in public beta that the public did not sign up for. And I think if you're going to use it as I've been using it, you've really got to be mindful of its limitations. And remember that those limitations are a lot like you. If it's going to be a AI and intelligence and vision-based systems, you know, it's going to have the same troubles you do. Like if one of the cameras gets blinded, if there's something up ahead that it can't see, you know, it's not going to have radar or LiDAR to detect those things like other types of automated driving assistance cars, or even like full-blown robo-taxis like the Waymo have. All right, this is the secret superpower, even still, I think. It's Tesla's charging network, and it's still the best fast charging network there is. These days it's about 23,000 superchargers across the US alone, and it's perfect. It works seamlessly every time. It's super easy to find on the car's software or with your phone. You drive up, you back it in, you plug it in. No drama, no BS. In all the time I've been testing cars, I've never once had a problem with one of these things. So yeah, maybe the new Tesla Model Y doesn't charge as fast as some of its rivals, but it kind of makes up for it with these things being as ubiquitous as they are. That's the secret superpower. And even though a lot of other EVs are going to the Tesla plug standard, or they're getting adapters so that they can use these charging networks, it's a little clunky still, and there's a lot of apps you have to go through, and it might not charge at the level you expect. This is predictable. It works every single time, and it's simple. So what's the verdict on the new Model Y? Well, again, I like it a lot. I'm a little sad to see it go. I think that in the end, it's still probably the best all-around EV for most people at this price point. But the competition's catching up fast. I don't know how much longer it's going to be able to retain that title. So there's two ways to look at it, right? If you're shopping for an EV right now, is this a great option? Yes, absolutely. And then there's kind of the business way of looking at Tesla. Is this car enough to reverse its fortunes after years of sales slides and controversies with the guy up top? I'm not sure that it is. Tesla could stand to work on some things like making its charging faster, making the range even better, adding even more revolutionary features. But in the meantime, this is an excellent car. Now, if you own a Model Y right now, do you need to run out and upgrade to this thing? I'm not so sure. It is nicer, it is more comfortable, it's a better place to spend time, but it's not a revolutionary leap over what the old car was. Hopefully Tesla can get back to that at some point, but in the meantime, it's hard to argue with the Model Y, as ever. For Inside EVs, I'm Patrick George.